at the top of your screen, you see 4 different 100 grids. They are 10 by 10. The first one has 2 rows of 5 shaded in red, so altogether that's 10. 10 out of the total 100 grids are shaded red. If I simplify that fraction or get it into lowest terms, it's equal to 1/10. 1/10 as a decimal is written like this, 0.1. If I want to change that decimal into a percent, I simply move the decimal to the right twice. 1, 2. Now I can see that this is equal to 10%. The final step is to practice going from percent into fraction. And remember, percent really means per 100 or out of 100. Out of 100. So, to change a percent into a fraction, the first step is to put it over 100, since percent really means for every 100 or out of 100. So let's do that. 32% means 32 out of 100. 32 out of 100. Well, if you look at 32 and 100, they both end in even numbers, so they're both at least divisible by 2. But let's think a little closer and see if there's anything else that can go into both numbers. Well, 1 and 2 can go into 32. Can 3 go into 32? No. What about 4? Is 32 divisible by 4? Yeah, because 4 times 8 gets you 32. So 4 and 8 are also factors of 32. So far, do any of these numbers also go into 100? Yeah, 2 and 4. But you know, since 4 is bigger, let's choose that one. The bigger the divisor, the more simple the fraction will become. 32 divided by 4 is 8, and 100 divided by 4 is 25. So, 8 over 25 is what we have so far. Now let's think even further. What numbers can go into 8? 2, 4, and 8. Can any of those go into 25? Not evenly, so this tells us that we are done dividing. So 32% is equal to 32 100ths, and that number in simplest form is 8 out of 25. For the second example, we're going to use a different strategy. We are first going to change the percent into a decimal, and from there make it into a fraction. Let me show you what I mean. Now this number is a percent, and we want it to become a decimal, so let's use our Dr. Pepper strategy. It is a percent, we want it to become a decimal, so the arrow going left reminds us the decimal point moves left 2 spaces. Of course, the decimal is invisible at the back. I move it left twice. 1, 2. This gives me the number 42.87. Now to change this into a fraction, all we do is we put a line under the decimal part of the number. 1 under the decimal point, 8 gets a 0, 7 gets a 0, and we can see this is now 42 and 87 hundredths. This number can actually not be simplified, so we're already in simplest form right there. For the last example, we're going to do what we originally did and see that it's a percent, so let's just simply put it over 100. 9.5 out of 100. Now, it is not proper math form to have a decimal inside of a fraction. That's not very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually multiply the top by 10 and the bottom by 10. Now think about this. If I multiply a number by 10, it's simply going to move the decimal point 1 space to the right, giving me 95 in my numerator and 1,000 in my denominator. So now I have 95 over 1,000. I'm out of space. Let me rewrite this down here. 95 over 1,000. Notice both of these numbers, one of them ends in 5 and the other ends in 0. So that's a clue that both are divisible by 5. Now, I don't know about you, but I know I don't have my multiplication facts memorized this high. I'm going to have to go to the side and do a little calculation to figure this one out. So I'm going to start with 95 divided by 5. 5 goes into 9 only one time, with 4 left over. 5 goes into 45 9 times equally, so I can stop dividing. So we can see that the numerator is 19. And now it's time to try some math to do the denominator, to figure out the denominator. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go to the side. Actually, I need to erase my work so I have some space here. No problem. I'm going to go to the side and divide 1,000 divided by 5. Okay, 5 goes into 10 twice, with none remaining. It goes into 0 0 times. It's important to keep these digits lined up so we know how many we still need to use. And 5 goes into 0 0 times. Okay, that's a lot of zeros. So you can tell 200 times 5 is 1,000. So 1,000 divided by 5 would be 200. Now, because 19 is a prime number and the only things that go into it are 1 and 19, and 19 does not go into 200, this tells us we are done dividing. 19 out of 200 is simplest form. So basically, to change a percent into a fraction, there are several strategies. But just remember that percent means out of 100 or per 100.